In today's video, we will be looking at 10 more inspiring stories of God's love in action. Make sure to watch until the end because the last one is very touching. Let's get into it. Number 10, the plan of God. In a town lived a young woman who had never known her father. She only knew that he was a farmer and would often go to see him during the summer holidays. On one such occasion, she asked him why he didn't come to live with them, and he told her that he had no money to build a house. She promised to do something about it and went to a real estate developer asking for help. He accepted and soon built a magnificent house for the man and his family. It was so beautiful that the girl fell in love with it. She wanted to buy it and proposed to pay half of the cost, but the developer refused, saying that it was a gift from God. He explained that when he was building the house, the Lord spoke to him and told him to build an even bigger house next to it for the girl and her family. So the developer did just that. And when all was done, he received a check from the Lord for the full amount, which was deposited in the church's account. Both houses were blessed by the pastor, and the girl and her family moved in. One day, the girl's mother came to the kitchen crying. When the girl asked her what happened, the mother said, "I just saw your father praying. He was kneeling down and thanking God for giving him 2 daughters instead of 1. Now that he can have 2 families under one roof, the girl was deeply moved and understood that it was all part of God's plan." Number 9, answered prayer. A lady was driving home late one night when suddenly her car broke down in the middle of nowhere. As she sat there thinking about what to do, she remembered that her pastor had once told her to trust God even when things seemed impossible. Remembering this, she closed her eyes, put the car in gear, and started moving forward slowly. To her surprise, the car began to move, and after about half an hour, she saw a gas station in the distance and drove towards it. When she finally reached the gas station, she got out of her car and thanked God for answering her prayer. Then she went inside to pay for the gas. But when she turned around, she realized that the amount was 0. Confused, she went back to her car, but couldn't find anything unusual. However, when she opened the trunk, she found a small piece of paper with a message written on it. The message read, "You need not pay for the gas you have used or for the one you'll use till you reach home." The lady was amazed and filled with gratitude for this unexpected blessing. Number 8, God provides. A young woman named Ruth was working in construction with her husband. They worked hard all week, and by Friday, they were exhausted. On their way home, they decided to take a shortcut through a field, but they soon realized that they were being followed by 2 men. They tried to run away, but the men were fast approaching them. The couple was scared and didn't know what to do. Just when things seemed to be going from bad to worse, a miracle happened. From behind some bushes, a big dog started barking loudly, and the men had no choice but to stop and run away. Ruth and her husband were saved. Later, they found out that the owner of the dog had seen everything and had intentionally unleashed his dog to scare the men away. Number 7, divine protection. Maria was born without arms and legs. Despite this disability, she had a happy childhood. Her parents loved her very much, and she grew up feeling loved and cared for. However, when she became a teenager, things changed. Maria became withdrawn and started hating her life. She felt like a burden to her parents and questioned why God had made her different. One day, Maria decided to end her life. She went to the bathroom, locked the door, and hung herself with a rope. But before she could take her life, she heard a knock on the door. Her mother's voice called out to her, asking if everything was okay. When Maria didn't respond, her mother started banging on the door. The noise interrupted Maria's thoughts, and she started thinking about how much her mother loved her. This realization gave her the strength to untie the rope and seek help from her mother. After this incident, Maria decided to live her life to the fullest. She participated in various competitions and won many prizes for her creativity and determination. She also started attending church regularly and found peace in her faith. Number 6. Unexpected inheritance. A homeless man named Andrew had been living on the streets for many years. Despite his difficult circumstances, he never lost hope that one day his luck would change. One day, Andrew met a wealthy businessman who was impressed by his positive attitude and resilience. The businessman took pity on him and invited him to his mansion to spend the night. The following morning, the businessman gave Andrew $100 and sent him on his way. However, what Andrew didn't realize was that the businessman had actually left him a much larger inheritance in his will. A few weeks later, Andrew learned that he had inherited $7 million from the businessman. He was shocked and grateful for this unexpected windfall, which allowed him to buy a new house and start a new life. Number 5. Faith and healing. A pastor was visiting his parishioners when he met a woman who hadn't attended church in a while. The woman had recently undergone surgery and was still recovering at home. The pastor asked her why she hadn't been to church, and she replied that she didn't feel well. The pastor insisted on visiting her and seeing for himself. When he arrived at her house, he noticed that she was lying in bed with bandages all over her body. He asked her if she had faith in God, and she responded that she did. The pastor then laid his hands on her and prayed for her healing. Miraculously, the bandages fell off, and the woman was completely healed. Overjoyed, she thanked the pastor and asked him to pray for her husband as well, who was also sick. The pastor did so, and the husband was healed too. Number 4. Answered prayer. Maria was a believer who had great faith in God. One day, she woke up feeling very sad and went to a secluded place to pray. As she prayed, she felt a strong presence beside her and heard a voice that asked her to look at her feet. When she looked down, she saw that her feet were completely healed, even though she had been suffering from a rare disease that caused severe pain and swelling in her legs. Maria was overjoyed and praised God for answering her prayer. Number 3. Divine intervention. A few years ago, a drunk driver crashed into a group of friends who were standing by their car. Among the victims was a young woman named Martha who suffered severe injuries. At the hospital, the doctors told her parents that she had only a 10% chance of survival, and that even if she did survive, she would be paralyzed from the waist down. Against all odds, Martha did survive, but she remained unconscious for several days. During this time, her parents and friends gathered around her bed, praying for a miracle. Miraculously, Martha regained consciousness and was able to move her legs, although she still faced many challenges during her recovery. With the support of her loved ones, she was eventually able to walk again. Martha's story is a testament to the power of prayer and the resilience of the human spirit. Number 2. The power of prayer. A married couple had been trying to conceive for several years without success. They visited numerous doctors and specialists, but none could help them. Feeling disheartened, they decided to visit a pastor for prayer. The pastor laid his hands on them and prayed for God to bless them with a child. A year after the prayer, the woman discovered that she was pregnant and soon gave birth to a baby boy. The couple named him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Their joy knew no bounds, and they knew that it was a miracle from God. Number 1. Love beyond words. A homeless man was sitting on a street corner when a woman approached him. She was carrying a plate of food and a Bible. She offered the food to the man, but he refused, telling her that he didn't want it. The woman persisted, insisting that he eat something, but the man continued to refuse. Finally, the woman sat down next to the man and started talking to him about God's love. She shared stories of people who had experienced hardship but had found hope in their faith. The homeless man listened attentively, and after a while, he agreed to accept the food and the Bible. As he ate, he told the woman that he had been homeless for many years and had lost hope of ever finding a better life. The woman prayed for him and promised to bring him food and the Bible every week. She kept her promise and continued to visit the homeless man every week. Over time, the man's health and spirits improved, and he began attending church with the woman. He found solace in his faith and the support of the church community, and eventually he was able to find a job and a place of his own. The woman's act of kindness and compassion had saved the homeless man's life. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure to stay tuned for more videos like this. We appreciate your support.